Hey everyone, this video is for people running businesses from around 500k to a million a year up to say 10 million. And I want to focus not on the problems as such. I want to kind of look at the inverse of the problems. So I want to take you through just a very, very quick case study of somebody that I work with. And I just want to show you like what his life is like at the moment. So in order to kind of explain why that's good, let's just briefly touch on what I see the problems are generally in those businesses I just described. We have an owner subjected to a ton of noise with a lot of incomplete solutions being offered to problems. That's part of the noise, right? We see the owner suffering from lack of freedom, well-being going down, often confusion is going up because of the noise, and so many decisions and choices, so you're pretty overwhelmed. Goals can kind of move around, and we see the psychological barriers start to get hit. So as you start to, for example, raise revenue, start growing a business, you might feel like this is not me. I feel like an imposter. I feel like I can't be talking to these people. I can't be talking to these businesses over here to kind of like trade with these people. All kinds of things, and sabotage can be a thing. So they're just some of the things which are kind of happening to people. Then we see a business that has growth caps. It has inefficiency. It's often on a very high, what I call like a very high baseline. So as the business is starting to grow, the baseline is already set too high. In other words, it's very inefficient. And as it grows, that baseline sort of cost, if you like, starts to go up even more. I'll talk more about that in a second. And then we see a lack of alignment. We see a lack of alignment between the owner and the business. Like, what is this thing that I've created? I don't feel so good about this anymore for various reasons. And this thing which I've created that's now going into the marketplace and trading, be that B2B or B2C, whatever, it's not doing that very efficiently. And perhaps I'm not feeling very good about the way that we're showing up in the market, okay? So that's kind of all that's going on. And then there's a bunch of macro trends as well, which are affecting businesses, like the rise of AI, the need for businesses to be more sustainable, the idea that people want to deal with brands that have more of a human connection. So all that stuff is kind of going on in the macro environment. And then we have like a ton of stuff which is affecting business owners themselves in the macro environment, like the macro trends. For example, more and more business owners struggling with mental health issues and so on. 96% admit to keeping the stress of running a business bottled up. I want to flip this over now. I want to show you somebody who's not experiencing these problems as much and is certainly running a business which holistically is growing very sustainably in a way that's very much in alignment to him. So let me introduce you to Craig. So this what I'm about to explain fits again between a business that's doing around 1 million a year up to 10 million a year. Craig started at zero when I first met him. We've been working together for a few years now. He was at 100k a month last year. This year he'll easily do 200k a month, probably more like 300k a month. And I want to talk about him in terms of what he did and what he does that others don't or won't do. So hopefully through this, I can help you to see how this guy is doing things differently and where these things I just talked about are not so much of a problem for him, okay? So think about these as I'm going through this. Just think about, are there any of these things which you could start to chip away at? And hopefully, as we start to sort of move you into looking at a business more holistically, right, as a series of parts, basically interconnected parts, you'll see where the bottlenecks might be in your case. And it will amaze you how just relieving a couple of these bottlenecks can really increase like the throughput, if you like, through the business and the kind of results that you'll get with it. So here's a few things that he did that others won't do or don't do. He stopped outsourcing his marketing. Okay, this might sound really scary, but I'm just going to tell you what he did. I'm not going to go into how he did it and everything, but this is what he did, and I'll explain like what kind of life he's living as a result of doing some of these quite bold moves, if you like. He stopped outsourcing marketing, right? So this results in more control. So you've probably used agencies before to run your ads and stuff like that. You can often feel like a lack of control. Like, what the hell are they doing? What's going on? Why is the cost per acquisition so high? Why are we not profitable? Why are we targeting these people? We should be targeting these people. Why are we saying this when we should be saying this? There's a lot of unpredictability when you outsource. So this is what he has now. He has more control. He has more predictability. He gets a lower CPA because, of course, like the marketing is a lot more efficient because him and his team are just like really focused on it. So they make it well optimized. They also don't have any fees, right? They don't have any marketing agency fees. They don't have a lot of inefficiency. So their CPA is very low. And the brand image, what gets put out there basically, is very consistent. It's also very agile. It's very versatile. Like as they move through different times of year, different seasons, they can adapt really, really quickly around their audience. And it's basically, the marketing is just like, it's serving these products to these people. These happen to be skiers in a way that's adding value to them. It's making their lives better. And it's very much sort of like correlated to the time of year and what people are thinking about, and sort of like they're planning a ski trip or they're thinking about their kit, and it's just intertwined with the season, if you like, in a way where if this was a marketing agency doing this, it would just be extremely difficult to try to kind of coordinate all of that stuff. But because it's in-house, it's very effortless, right? So the marketing is extremely efficient, which gives us this low CPA. And if this all sounds like really daunting, well, he's embraced processes to run this marketing. Okay, so everything that's done is like literally systemized out and processed out. So it happens every week or every day sometimes, like clockwork, with an internal contractor literally just following the steps to make sure that marketing runs in the right way for this brand. Okay, so it's not like a one-size-fits-all template. It's something designed specifically to work in a way that's Craig is happy with, in a way that's aligned, in a way that delivers the right results. And then this thing just runs, okay, like a machine. It's almost like having your own internal agency, except without the headaches of like managing multiple people. So this gives you like a low CPA. And I spoke earlier about this sort of baseline cost thing. Most people's baseline cost is just way too high. It's like up here and it should be somewhere down here, okay? As you do things, as you try new things, as you market and so on, you can lose a little bit of money, but the goal is that you want to start to recover that downside as quickly as possible and scale. But you don't want your upside to be capped up here. Okay, so if we start here as our baseline cost, if you like, and we do this, and then we gradually go, we're going to cap out, okay, because things like our product margin is going to prevent us from being able to scale past a certain ceiling, right? Part of the bringing your marketing in-house is that you get to set your CPA, your cost per acquisition, very, very low, all right? That's one of the key components here to running a healthy business that's going to grow sustainably, because marketing costs are going to be one of your highest costs. It's just one aspect, but it's a key thing. There's going to be other aspects as well, which will start to raise this baseline that we want to be aware of. The other thing he did is increase margins. So he actually raised his prices. So now he has a lot more headroom. He's feeling like he's exposed to less risk, and he's more in line with how people value his products. So raising the margins has solved a lot of problems. It's raised the cap here and the ceiling on growth. So he's no longer stuck. So from a customer acquisition perspective, again, he set it really low because of the way we structure the marketing. He's increased his margin, so now his ceiling is a lot higher. So if you're feeling constrained, like how do I grow? And every sort of dollar or pound of revenue you get is coming in at a very low profit for a lot of stress and a lot of resource. You've got to think about that. You've got to think about, how can I raise prices? Maybe I'm targeting the wrong people who don't value the products enough. If I move over here instead, I can actually charge like double what I'm charging now because they value what the products do so much higher. And then in regards to outsourcing, it's like, is that inefficient for you? Because 80% of what you're doing marketing wise is only generating 20% of your revenue. Okay, so if that 80% is just incredibly wasteful and it's being operated by an agency, just think about if you restructure this and you focus on what exactly is generating that 20%. Okay, that 20% of stuff that generates 80% of my revenue. Hopefully you're following. What if I only focused on that? Then you've chopped out so much and now you've brought your baseline way, way, way down. Okay, moving on. He views the business as a system. This is huge. He sees the health of the whole, right? So he's now an owner, not a manager. So a lot of people find themselves like in the weeds all the time. When you're in the weeds, you obviously can't see the big picture. So he is owner. He owns this thing. It's an asset for him. He can oversee the health of the whole, and he can spot opportunities for growth, for example, innovation or low-hanging fruit. So as a result of not being in the weeds, he was able to see a new product idea, which he would never have been able to see before. It's an extremely simple idea, super high margin, and everybody in his customer base is going to eat this up and they're going to tell everybody they know about this product. So there's a huge upside there, right? Long hanging fruit opportunities. How many times we've sat together on a call and we've noticed something that's not being done right now just because of the fact that we're able to zoom out. It's easy to see and it's easy to leverage. So you become, you go from a place of leverage, all right, as owner. So part of the reason he's been able to do this is because of these two steps up here, okay? And the idea of embracing systems, like I talked about, embrace processes to run marketing. Once you start to embrace processes, you can roll those out into other places, which brings us to the next point. He systemized everything. So looking at the whole and then getting into like the weeds a little bit in terms of like what are the processes that occur throughout the business? Where am I too involved? Where are team members too involved? What could we make simpler? And so on. We're literally just turning all of these things into processes, okay? So things like stock control, dispatch, fulfillment, physical shop, no longer a burden. He runs a physical ski store, which has constantly pulled him away from this sort of second business, which is the one that we're talking about today. The ski store being very low margin, stocking lots of like big name brands and things like this, very competitive as well. Not a good use of his time in terms of the upside of what's delivered in terms of profitability. So we need to get rid of it. But instead of selling it, instead of closing it down, he's actually just able to process it out. So that shop can run without him, okay? And he's not reliant on team members not leaving. So this is a key thing, right? You probably watching this, most of you watching this have got some experience of a key team member leaving and then you having to go and fill in that role, or you having to go through the gauntlet again of having to go through the hiring process, which is just, not fun. This is not a problem because the people that he has, if they leave, they can easily be replaced because the people that are going to replace them are going to be able to jump in and go straight in where they left off essentially and to start going through these processes on how to run this shop and how to run this business, down to like how to fulfill orders, how to open the shop in the morning, how to display stock. All of it is processed out. Next one, this is huge. He's in alignment. So his brand image that he's created is something that he is now proud of. So instead of just sort of floating around and not really having a mission or a purpose or a brand identity or a story, remember I said here that people can fall out of alignment with their business in terms of how it's sort of projected in the world and what it does. Instead, he's very aligned. So we have a brand story here that's very authentic. It's about like the big players and how they sort of manipulate skiers, if you like. And this brand is like the underdog that advocates for skiers and helps them get a lot more out of their skiing in spite of the big brands, okay? He feels very strongly about that and he's able to now pour into that mission. So instead of just selling products, he's actually going out there making people's lives better. All right, so it's no longer, it doesn't feel icky anymore to sell because you're actually helping people, you're doing them a favor. Anything he can pour into it, like his expertise, his enthusiasm for the sport, it doesn't come across as selling, but it all helps move the needle in terms of growth. So he's energized, work is fun. Like he loves recording videos, for example. He likes making quite humorous videos and he's able to do that because it's on brand, okay? So there's less of this like the whole sort of work-life balance thing. If you can bring more of just general life into work, this is really good. Like, what do you enjoy doing? He enjoys skiing. He enjoys photography. He enjoys creating videos and content. That's life for him. Okay, life can then feed into business when you're in alignment with your business. This is a huge area. I'm not doing it any justice here, but hopefully you kind of see where it's going. Same way that work can kind of lead into life. So like if work stuff is fun, then it doesn't need to have this strict divide around it, right? Work can be a trip abroad to film with a new product that's fun and is obviously not really work. It's more of a life thing, okay? Last one is he's aware of his limitations. So here I spoke a lot about some of the psychological barriers. You've got to be aware of those and they start to show up as you grow because you have to do more things. You have to go outside of your comfort zone. And as you do that, of course, you meet a lot of resistance. And these are the internal psychological barriers. So having somebody to kind of spar with and talk to you about those things is really important. Someone to hold you accountable. he's aware of this. So he's aware of what these are. So he's able to think about what he's thinking about. Okay. So instead of just seeing everything as a problem and this is a business problem, he's starting to think, well, is this really a business problem, or is this actually more something which I've created, or something that's coming from me, or it's just the way I'm perceiving the situation? Okay. Again, a very good thing about being in a community or being in a mentorship is that somebody else is often able to point that out in you and help you to correct, right, and not fall into those traps. So, for example, he's very aware of the internal barriers to growth. He also focuses more on doing things which are within his circle of competence. So, with all of this in mind, that we talked about systemizing and looking at everything as a whole and delegating effectively, he's more able to stay within his circle of competence, okay? Which means that when he invests his time and energy, it's obviously going to pay off a lot more than if he's doing something which he really shouldn't be doing at all. And it's going to be more effective for the business. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of show you the flip side of a lot of the problems which I talk about. So you can find out more about this particular slide, and my mission and our mission as a sort of ecosystem is to help people to look at their business holistically. It's to help people with these things and to reverse these. It's to help people have more control over their business, be able to break through the profit and revenue caps, and do so in a way that's very sustainable, while increasing your alignment, while increasing your enjoyment, and owning a business and positioning a business in the marketplace that adds a tremendous amount of value that you can feel pleased about, or very happy about, or ecstatic about. That's our mission. So feel free to check out the mission. I'll link to that below this video. DM or comment if you want to have a chat about any of this. There's no pressure. I'm not trying to sell stuff. If you just want a general conversation, I'm always very happy to hear about people's individual situations. I take all of that into account and I try and work out solutions and turn that into positive advice. And if you'd like, join a call. We operate a call at least once a week. You can join that via our community as well, and you can participate in there 24/7. I will also link to that below. So thanks very much for watching this. If you have any comments, as ever, please do leave them below and I'll get back to you. And thanks again. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.